Hello, welcome to Puffs and Poetry. I'm your host, Jessica, a writer, cannabis aficionado, and poetry lover. Today, I am rolling up a Type 2 joint. A Type 2 joint is a joint that has a blend of CBD and THC in it. My THC is a little bit of a salad blend from a bowl that I made last night. It is left over. And the CBD comes to me with herbs from this gorgeous focus blend from High Priestess Herbal Wellness. Today I am in a forest in Maryland. It is a beautiful day. So I thought it would be the perfect time to read you one of America's most classic poets, Robert Frost. When you think of Robert Frost, you may think of the 19th century, and for good reason, it's when he was born. But Robert Frost lived most of his life in the 20th century. He was actually the poet at JFK's inauguration. So although we may think of him as old, he is comparatively quite a modern poet. Robert Frost is often used in English classes and Robert Frost is often used in English classes as a good introduction to poetry because he writes in relatively plain English. He doesn't use a lot of comparisons. He doesn't use a lot of prose. He doesn't use a lot of fancy similes or metaphors. He's fairly straightforward, which makes him pretty approachable for somebody who is learning how to interpret poetry. The one thing I love, one of the many things I love about adding herbs to your smoking session is the taste that they bring. They are delicious and so different from the cannabis taste you may be used to. Our first poem today is one of Robert Frost's most famous poems, and it's called The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Our next poem is called Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Our next poem is called Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood, and save some part of the day I rued. Our next poem is called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. You may have heard this one before. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. It's always satisfying when I think the joint is going out during a poem to be able to catch it and save it. Our next poem is called Fireflies in the Garden. Here come real stars to fill the upper skies, and here on earth come emulating flies, that though they were never equal stars in size, and they were never really stars at heart, achieve at times a very star-like start. Only, of course, they can't sustain the part. Our next poem is called A Minor Bird. I have wished a bird would fly away and not sing by my house all day. Have clapped my hands at him from the door when it seemed as if I could bear no more. The fault must partly have been in me. The bird was not to blame for his key. And of course there must be something wrong in wanting to silence any song. Our last poem today is called Unharvested. A scent of ripeness from over a wall, and come to leave the routine road, and look for what had made me stall. There sure enough was an apple tree that had eased itself of its summer load, and of all but its trivial foliage free, now breathed as light as a lady's fan. For there had been an apple fall, as complete as the apple given to man. The ground was one circle of solid red. May something always go unharvested. May much stay out of our stated plan. Apples or something forgotten and left, so smelling their sweetness would be no theft. One of the great trickeries of the English language is that so there was is a grammatically correct sentence. I wonder if I can get this lit with the wind going. I wonder if I brought a lighter that works. I'm covered in ash and dirt and pollen. The joys of being outside. Well, my joint is almost out, and that is all the poems. Those are all the poems that I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed them. If you have a poet that you want to hear, I would love to know who. If you smoked a bowl or a joint or ate an edible or put on a topical, I would love to know how you enjoyed cannabis as well. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and with Robert Frost today. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. I didn't think that was going to work.